Another day in this stock market, this bipolar stock market, and I posted a video, before the market opened this morning because the stock was already up 10%, and I I ended up the video saying, well, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up the day with the stock being in the red. And guess what? We end up with the stock being in the red, even though it's a little bit flat, around 14 and 34 cents per share. Now, the thing is, today just confirms the idea of this stock set up to run so hard. Why? Because I'm going to share with you two main things. First of all, looking at what the price action did today, because no way a movie such as Top Gun Maverick is exploding all-time records on movies, box office numbers in an opening weekend, and there is no way we have such numbers and AMC end up flat in the red. No way, especially after being up 10%. Because you know what? They dumped hundreds of millions of shares today to maintain the price where they want it to be. How are they even managing to do that when Adam Aron just confirmed something really interesting? And we're going to go over that in just a second here, because this is mind-blowing. This is literally mind-blowing. No, so he just said, I expect Paramount will confirm today that the exact number for Top Gun Maverick as the highest domestic grossing Memorial Day weekend movie of all time. I can confirm now that AMC sold 3.3 million Top Gun tickets, both in the US and globally, more than any other cinema chain. More than any other cinema chain. That alone is enough to attract buying pressure. And that is what we saw, pre-market. Now, on the other side of things, by listening at what, he said on CNBC this morning, it's interesting. So we're going to listen up and we're going to comment right after.
282% since the pandemic began on March 11th of 2020. Up almost a little more than 11% this morning. But if you were in this for the 1 year, it's down by about 38%. I think year to date, it's down pretty sharply too. All of that makes your stock sales at the end of last year look pretty well timed. I think $42 million you sold. At the time, you said you would not be selling anymore. Is that still the case?
Yeah, I'm not selling stock. I don't like to admit this on CNBC, but I turned 67 years of age in September, and back last July, I said it was time for some estate planning and that I expected to sell some shares at the end of the year, which I did. I also said in mid-January that I was done selling, and I own almost 800,000 AMC shares. I have another 2.1 million AMC shares that have been granted that will vest over the next 2.5 years. Needless to say, I have an enormous incentive to act like a shareholder and think like a shareholder, because I am one of the largest AMC shareholders.
You pointed out that retail investors have really embraced your stock, have poured into it. I think at one point it was something like 80% of your shareholders were retail investors. Is that still the case? How closely do you track it?
We track it, and generally speaking, those are still the numbers. Plus or minus a point or two, but the numbers that we've said publicly were around 80%. As I said, plus or minus, it changes every day, but around 80%. But we also said if you take out the index funds, who are forced to own our stock by definition, then retail investors are in the neighborhood of 85 to 90% of our shareholders. It's a lot of people out there, both in the U.S. and overseas, I might add, who believe in movie theaters, who believe in AMC. We're honored to have them as part of the AMC family.
All right, folks, I don't know if you caught it. He just admitted on live television, live TV, that retail investors are close to owning 90% of the stock if you remove the index funds from the equation. So now, this is a mind-blowing info. Why? Because how in the heck are they even able to do something they were doing like today? And something that I've been doing for the last month and the last 6 months, and so far since June. I mean, since June of 2021. How in the heck are they even able to do so if it's not something shady that is going on between, underneath the table? I don't know. I don't know. Well, I do know, but the thing is, this is precisely one of the reasons why I'm even more bullish on holding this stock now. I'm even more convinced on holding this stock now because if we have 90% of the entire company being owned by retail plus index funds and all of these other companies such as Ray Dalio Investment, Bridgewater, the pension funds, etc., literally there is no way a stock like AMC can perform like it is performing if somebody is not doing something shady under the table. So it's gonna run hard. It's gonna run really, really hard because they cannot simply continue to sustain this on the long run. Now, something else I wanted to point out. Peter Han, portfolio manager in Canada. Psychologists employed by shorts have completely missed the mark in this play. Dumping AMC after a huge Top Gun earnings just reinforces the bullshit nature of this market. And by this market, it means in this play. Anger reinforces desire to hold. They will have been smart or smarter to let it run to $19 and pin it there, but they can't. They just can't because they don't have that kind of power anymore. They don't have that kind of power anymore. And as we move further in the end of this year, it's going to be even more tough for them to be able to do such, hold the share price even harder. So it's like you compress something, but at some point, there's going to be a reaction, and the reaction is going to be so hard because you compressed it so hard as well, and it's going to just go poof bananas. So yeah, and another reason to because it just doesn't make sense, folks. You know this. We're seeing this again, and for this reason, I've been more bullish. I don't know about you guys, but that's what I really feel.